You know, there are many who have eyes but cannot see, ears but cannot hear, hearts but cannot fully feel. But you all have not forgotten the forgotten. You give of yourselves to help SASHA and these majestic creatures. They are the ones that are the few that are lucky enough to make it to this wondrous sanctuary. And in this sense, you are all beautiful people, and I'm honored to be with you tonight. Although now my home is the road, and my house, my Honda Civic, I come from these parts. I was born in Detroit, and I grew up in the surrounding area. Now I travel the continent year-round for vegan outreach, working on behalf of the many animals like the many spoken of here tonight. It was my time in this magnificent part of the country that I really gained a respect and a love for animals. It was years ago that my lovely mother, who I'm happy enough to have in the audience, Mom, please raise your hand. It was years ago that my mother taught me to be kind to animals. I had a very modest upbringing growing up in a trailer park, but I struggled. At times, we struggled to make ends meet. But for years, both for our enjoyment, but also for our need, we would dig through trash cans at Stony Creek Metro Park, digging for bottles and cans for the 10-cent deposit so that we can get a little bit of extra income. But for this, not only was this for our own enjoyment, or for our own need, but also for our enjoyment because we loved the park. We loved taking in the beauty. We loved sitting by the lake, sitting with the wildlife, and basking in the presence of the many deer that live there. Aside from the needed extra income, we would enjoy this park, and these deer, they were just as much our friends as were the other park goers. We needed them more than they needed us. Then, one day, we discovered that a cull would be happening. For that first time in Stony Creek's history, a cull would be occurring, and these precious, innocent creatures that knew nothing but freedom and compassion would be killed in the name of some falsehood. This injustice would tear families of deer apart. My mom and I would not stand by and let this happen without a voice being heard. For months, in all weather, we held signs opposing the deer hunt, raising awareness about what's going on night after closing. We spent countless hours contacting the media, reaching out to the park, crying for our animal friends. As an 11-year-old boy, I even stood up at a Department of Natural Resources meeting in front of about 100 people and uttered the words, "Please don't kill the deer. They've done nothing wrong." Our cries fell on deaf ears. The hunt continued. Many animals lost their lives far too early. As night fell one evening, though, we did something that still brings joy to our hearts. While in the park, we began howling. For minutes, which felt like hours, we howled our hearts out, alerting our dear friends that danger was near. As DNR vehicles blazed down the roadways with every light flashing and blinking, we escaped into the darkness. Later, we discovered that only 3 deer had been killed that night. It's action that creates change, and it was action on this night that spared the lives of many. It was my mother that passed on compassion for animals to me, and it was speaking up for deer that made me realize the importance of being selfless, of giving a voice to those without one. Years later, after the seeds of compassion had been planted and finally sprouted, and I became vegan and became an activist, I went for a ride with my mom in the passenger seat. I handed her a vegan outreach booklet, the same one I hand out on college campuses. There was silence for a few minutes. Then I began to hear sniffling. Then I looked over to see my tears streaming down my mom's face, and I heard she utter the words, "I just can't do it anymore," and vowed to never eat meat again. It's funny how the tables have turned. The compassion that she had taught me for cats and dogs and deer, I had now taught her for pigs and cows and chickens. These animals are one and the same. Now, it's been 3 years since my mom has been a vegetarian, and I'm just so proud of her. Can we please give a round of applause for my personal hero, my mom, Sarah. As a youngin', I learned about the individual personalities of cats, their wishes, their desires, their demands. Then I learned about speaking up for deer. Eventually, I learned about the treatment of farm animals and discovered the many standard industry practices that cause these animals so much harm. Not only are they abused on every level of their existence, but they have the same exact feelings and will to live as the cats and dogs and deer that I knew so well. I decided I didn't want to play middleman anymore. I didn't want to pay somebody to do something to an animal that I would never, ever do myself. So I made the easy decision to stop eating animals. It was the second best decision of my life. The best decision of my life is when I decided to hit the streets, go to the college campuses, and give a voice to the animals. Shortly after becoming vegan, I read an essay called A Meaningful Life, written by Matt Ball, one of the co-founders of Vegan Outreach. To say it was life-changing would be an understatement. I thought, hey, this is the roadmap for creating the most amount of change. So I began leafletting, discovered how effective it was, and have never looked back. Now I travel across North America all year long for Vegan Outreach, going to college campuses, raising awareness about the plight of farm animals. I do this by distributing pamphlets that describe the treatment of today's farm animals and promoting a vegan diet. By doing this work, we're striking at the root of evil. The work of Vegan Outreach complements the work of SASHA. The work of SASHA allows us to see each animal as an individual with its own wants and needs and quirks. That it really gets us to see that each individual we can influence is a major impact, is a major victory for animals. It gives us a sense of urgency to impact as many animals, as many individuals as possible. By doing outreach, we have the potential to influence or to save future Jeffersons, Preciouses, Lewises. By choosing to engage in and support grassroots outreach, such as the work that Vegan Outreach does, we're taking the message straight to the people. It's an easy sell. Everyone loves animals. Nobody wants to willingly support cruelty. How can there ever be peace on earth when your basic needs require acts of violence? Animals deserve better, and the public knows this. Polls consistently show that nearly 100% of the public opposes animal cruelty. So it's as simple as getting a message into the hands of the people. It's making that connection between what they're eating and what they're supporting. Every day that I'm out there, I'm hearing from people who are impacted by this literature. They're impacted by what they read. Many people still have an image of open pastures and green meadows, and you and I each know that the truth couldn't be further from that. The situation is bad for farm animals. With virtually no protections under the law, they fall victim to an industry that looks at them as nothing more than commodities, not the loving, living, feeling beings that they are. While the situation is bad, the opportunity to make a positive influence is great. By not eating animals, we're immediately sparing dozens and dozens of animals from a lifetime of suffering. When becoming an activist or donating to effective organizations, we're exponentially increasing the amount of animals that we can help. When we withdraw our support from this cruel system, we're making a statement that we will not stand by in silence. By coming to this event tonight, you have all made a statement that you will not stand by idly. You are choosing to take action for the neglected billions. Change is happening. Every year for the past 6 years, the amount of animals that are being raised for meat has declined. Veganism is becoming more normal by the day, and I'm seeing that every day on college campuses. Even in Montana, North Dakota, Idaho, Iowa, people care about animals. Compassionate people are everywhere. People are seeing that vegan food can be delicious and amazing, and you all who are supporting these efforts to raise awareness are really making a difference in pushing the ball forward for animals. Now, it's interesting how I got connected to this phenomenal sanctuary. The organization that I work for, Vegan Outreach, was sent some gorgeous pieces of jewelry designed by the amazing Christine Wagner, who works for SASHA. They're both beautiful in design and effective in messaging, and they've made fabulous gifts for the many great people I've met along my way, along my journeys. It's these little acts of kindness, like Christine donating these, that we cherish so much. It's little acts of kindness and a showing of affection that animals deserve and animals need, but are denied on factory farms across the country. But that's why I'm here, and it's the reason you all are here. We recognize that farm animals deserve better. They deserve to be treated with kindness and care, not cruelty and contempt. Now, I really love SASHA because the lives and the stories of these courageous and fortunate animals really come to life. In a sense, these are ambassadors for the billions of animals still trapped on factory farms. Not only do they deserve to live happy on the farm, free from pain, but their influence penetrates the consciousness of many. Spending time with Jefferson, hearing his moving tale of escape and fight for freedom has made a profound impact on me. Feeding him bits of asparagus, laughing as his tongue wraps around my hand, petting his snout as if he were a dog, looking into his giant glassy eyes, looking into his soul, seeing his individuality, his personality, making that one-on-one connection is something I'll never forget. I know all animals are like that. Just like us, animals have noses to smell, ears to hear, eyes to see. They don't want to be subjected to needless cruelty. Is it such a stretch to think that they have brains and feelings, nerves and emotions? Of course not. Spending time with these animals has rejuvenated my spirit. It's reminded me why I'm out there every day doing what I'm doing. Encouraging other people to go vegan and make the connection to the billions of anonymous farms suffering, and the billions of anonymous animals suffering on these factory farms. It's for the Jeffersons of the world that I dedicate my life to helping others. It's for this that I will always be thankful to SASHA and to you for making this life-changing experience possible. In this sense, SASHA is a treasure that people can come and see and interact with the animals and realize that dinner had a mom, has eyes, is innocent. It's a humanizing experience. Jefferson and the many others give a voice to the many without one. Many times I've thought, what if I was born an animal instead of a human? These animals have done nothing wrong, yet are mutilated, confined, and face an untimely and wicked end. It brings me such joy to know that these animals have escaped these horrors. And by supporting SASHA, are we not supporting the best of which is in ourselves? Love, compassion, giving, caring. Big industry has fed us enough lies, the cruelty, the pain, the death. Being human and being in the position that we are, we in a sense have a responsibility to speak up for those less fortunate, to give a voice to the voiceless. And who has less of a voice than the many animals trapped on these factory farms? By supporting SASHA and the remarkable creatures that will live the rest of their lives on it, we are fulfilling our humanity. We are making a difference. I have no doubt that in 100 years, things are going to be drastically different for animals, but the speed at which this progress occurs is completely dependent on our willingness to roll up our sleeves and get the work done that needs to get done. The great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but ultimately it bends towards justice." What he meant by this is that change is often painful, piecemeal, and takes a long time to happen, but if enough people are working towards this, justice is inevitable. Thank you for opening up your hearts, minds, and wallets to this worthy cause. If the animals could speak, would they not ask us and thank us for speaking on behalf of them and donating to SASHA? Well, I can speak, and I say thank you on behalf of the many magnificent and innocent creatures that you've helped save. You know, I also like spending time with Digger, the bull. You know, a lot of people say I'm like a bull. And I'm a humble activist. I don't make a grand salary, don't have health insurance or an apartment somewhere. But what I do have is a belief in the work of SASHA Farm Sanctuary. It's for that reason that I'm donating $250 to SASHA Farm Sanctuary. And I would like to say thank you for joining me in supporting this worthy organization. Thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, John. Very generous offer. I got a request to bring Christine up here for a minute because we want to do our auction. We want to do our giveaway. Come on. Huh? So Christine's going to pull out 3 tickets. Take a look at them, and we'll keep pulling until we get 3.
There's one glued to the bottom.
Is that yours? Okay, the first number, 304729. Varsha? It should be you. Anyways, it's you, Varsha. 304712. 712, I think that's you, Rachel. $304,601. That should be Donna. Christine's going to go out and get the jewelry, and she'll bring it back in, the necklaces. Thank you for that. Just a little something extra. Oh, wait a minute anyway. So you guys can go ahead and sit down. We'll make sure that we get it to you, okay? Rather than standing up here. Okay. Couple of announcements that I've been asked to make. Number 1, everybody's aware that Veg Fest. Hello. Veg Fest is tomorrow at the Novite. I think it's a suburban showcase. The suburban showcase in Novi. That'll run from 11 until 6, I believe.
5.
11 to 5. really got my act together here. So don't forget to see that. There's also getting a little bit of a feedback. There's also Veg Week in Ann Arbor, and there's a bunch of there's some flyers out on the table for that. It's been organized, I think, with Veg Michigan and a lot of other groups that got together. And there's a lot of things that are going on all throughout Ann Arbor for the entire week. There's grocery store tours at Whole Foods. I think John Sally's coming in on Monday. Dr. Bernard's going to be talking. There's going to be an awful lot of things for you to see and do in Ann Arbor, so it's going to be a fun week in Ann Arbor for vegetarians and vegans. I'll say that. Coming up in June, there is a conference that's going to be held here at Weber's. It's on June 22nd from 8 until 4, and on Sunday, June 23rd from 8 until noon. It's going to be the Michigan Animal Rights Network. There's information and flyers at the desk up by the front door if you're interested in coming. I think the tickets are $50. Am I right, Cody? I think the tickets are $50. That's a suggested registration fee, and there's going to be talks throughout the day and breakouts. And Harold Brown is going to be coming in. Jonathan Belcom, who is an animal behavior expert and author of 4 books, including the pleasurable, I'm going to say it, Michael Butke, who is the co-founder and executive director of Stop Animal Exploitation Now, and Harold Brown, who is a former beef farmer, who was also the on the board originally of at Farm Sanctuary. Also, there's a initiative that everybody is very aware of that for the wolves. And Ann, wherever you are, Ann Honhart would like to say a couple of words regarding that. So, Ann.
Thank you very Good evening. My name is Ann Honhart, and I've been a volunteer for the last few months for a group called Keep Michigan Wolves Protected. How many of you have heard of that? Raise your hands. Yay! Thank you. Well, I have some very good news. This was our poster, and as a matter of fact, we collected over 250,000 signatures in 67 days. Now, they're waiting to be certified to make sure that we have 161,000 valid ones. And if so, that will go onto the ballot in 2014. And the Michigan voters have their legal right to vote on this referendum in 2014 on whether or not Michigan gray wolves can be hunted. That's the good news. That's our democratic right to referendum. Now, I have some bad news. And this is pretty stunning news, and it just occurred about a week ago. Senator Casperson from the UP, who had introduced the wolf hunting bill in the first place, has now come up with an end-run bill that will supersede this. And as a matter of fact, it may supersede all we did for the doves back in 2006. So I want you to pay very close attention to this, and I would love to have all of you help us. Basically, he's come up with a bill. It's called SB 288, and there's a companion bill in the House called HB 455. And I have the literature in the back. I'd like each of you to take it tonight. And these bills that are companion are exactly the same, are being fast-tracked through the Senate and through the House. And is probably going to reach the Senate floor on Tuesday of this week. So what this bill states basically is besides the legislature, the House, and the Senate having the right to name game animals, designate game animals, and then ultimately be hunted, there's going to be a 7-member commission that is appointed, not elected, appointed, and they can do the very same thing, except there could be no referendum. They literally, this 7-member unelected commission will have more power than the state representatives, the state senate, or the governor, because there can be no referendum. When in fact, presently, the legislature and the governor decides what's going to be hunted, we can say we'll have a referendum, just as we did for the doves, just as we're doing now for the wolves. But if these bills pass, there can be no referendum, and that's it. That's the final say. They are taking away not just possibly the wolf or the mourning dove or sandhill crane or whatever they so choose. They'll be taking away our democratic right to vote, to have a referendum. They'll be taking away our right of representation. These rights belong in the legislature, and they should stay there. They should not be shared with this unelected body of 7 members. And by the way, the commonality of these 7 members, they're not scientists. Oh, they're a hardware distributor, a gas distributor, etc. But their commonality is they're hunters, fishermen, and trappers. So this is very dangerous. Their bias is towards hunting. And whatever they choose to put on that list, it will go. And the people that they listen to are not people who love animals or the scientists. The people they listen to are Safari Club International and also the NRA and MUCC. So if these bills pass, we might say goodbye to our wildlife because they're going to be put on the hunting list, including the wolf and the mourning dove. So I'm asking you all tonight to please, before Tuesday, call your state representative, and you can look online and find out who that is, your state senator, and also the governor. This is going to be pieced out. Probably it's going to hit the Senate Tuesday, and then maybe later in the week or the following week the House, and then ultimately be up to the governor. We need to stop this. Stop it at the Senate, stop it at the House, stop it before the governor signs it. We talked about activism tonight, and I hope you will all become activists this week and the following week and follow this. You can follow it online and keep wolves protected. And for all of you that helped in the campaign and stood in the freezing cold, as many of us did, 28-degree weather for 67 days, I want to say thank you very much. You're all stalwart, you're all soldiers, and thank you all for being here and help supporting us tonight.
Yeah, I would also like to add, there's a rally on Tuesday at 11 a.m. at the state capitol about this very issue, and as many people as can possibly come out, we can appreciate having, because we need to show them that we are really upset about this latest appalling power grab. Also, there's flyers over here that give you the names, the numbers of the bills and everything. So if you pick one up on your way out, then that will remind you to make your phone call and also possibly attend the rally.
Yes, so please please tell them, some of them may not give a fig about animals, but they should be giving a care of fig about our democratic rights. And you can remind them of that if they're not pro-animal. Don't let them take your rights from you. Thank you very much.
I get to do this again. Barsha, Rachel, and the other young lady that won the necklace, please come on up. Christine, bring it home. Barsha, since you were first, you get your pick, and then Rachel, and then you get down. Okay. They're all three different, that's why I'm giving them a choice. I'm going by the first one picked. Yeah, that's a bag of the little box that goes with it. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, we're going to be letting you have a little bit of time, your time evening back this evening. That's great. We're going to do this silent auction closeout right now. So everybody that won is the winning bidder. We're going to ask you to go back in the room right outside that exit room right there. Go outside that exit door and turn to your right. We'll have a couple people back there checking you out. We'll be doing both cash line and a credit card line. You can either grab your item. Wait a second, Cody. Yeah, so again, we've got some things that didn't get a bid on it, and if you want to, just make us an offer. They're all in the room where we're going to be doing the silent auction closeout and we'll take your bid. Whatever it is. Thank you, everybody, and have a great night. Please drive carefully, and I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow at Veg Fest.